Hello, third graders. This is Math Expression 2018 edition, Unit 4, Lesson 8. If you have a student workbook and you want to work along, I am working on pages 269 and 270. In Lesson 7, you cut out your own analog clock. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be investigating times before and after the hour, and we're going to be very precise down to 5 minutes in this part of our lesson. So you can write the time as minutes after an hour and minutes before an hour. Let's take a look at number 1. Remember that the shorter hand is the hour hand and the longer hand is the minute hand. And each time you hop around, it's a group of 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So it's not 1 o'clock yet, so it's still 12 o'clock, and it's 45 minutes after 12 o'clock. Well, we can also think about how many minutes is it until 1 o'clock, because it's not 1 o'clock yet. So going from here, we can go 5, 10, 15. So it's 45 minutes after 12 and 15 minutes before 1 o'clock. Number 2. Let's look to see where our hour hand is. It's pointing right here in between the 2 and the 3. I think I'm going to try annotating on my screen here. So if I was going to look to see, I know that it's after the 2. Well, I don't know if it's PM. Don't let me write PM. It's in between the 2 and the 3. So it's not 3 o'clock yet, so it's still 2 o'clock. But how many minutes after 2 o'clock is it? Well, let's skip count. 5, 10, 15, 20. So it's 20 minutes after 2 o'clock, which means how many minutes is it going to be until 3 o'clock? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So we have 40 minutes until we get to 3 o'clock. And that's what our goal is today. We are going to be investigating how to tell time in the format of as minutes after an hour, and also thinking about it as minutes before an hour. Take a moment to pause the video right now. Write down the time that you believe for 1, 2, and 3. We did 1 and 2, but I didn't write it down yet for you. Write down what you believe for minutes after an hour and minutes before an hour. Once you have written down your answers, come back and check your work against mine. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look. And where is my undo? There it is. Okay, so if I look at what I have written here, and I copied and pasted this, I cheated a little bit today. If I look at this, here's my answers. I've got 2 different answers. I've got 45 minutes after 12, just like we said, and 15 minutes before 1. So we've got one way, thinking about it after the hour and before the hour. 20 minutes after 2. And they have that wrong there. And then it's 40 minutes before 3. And we did that again. 20 minutes after 2, 40 minutes before 3. Number 3, if you wrote down 40 minutes after 5 and 20 minutes before 6, you're correct. Let's keep going here. I'm actually going to just give you an opportunity to pause and do the work for 4 through 9. Practice is what we need to do here. That's how we learn. We are practicing this skill. So I want you to pause the video, write down what you believe are the minutes after the hour and the minutes before the hour, and then come back and check your work with mine. Welcome back. Hopefully, you took some time to investigate this and write the time as minutes after an hour and minutes and before an hour. So what I did while we were paused is I went ahead and I added a few annotations to my page here. You can see that right here I have used a red line, and I kind of hate that it highlights when I touch it, but I used a red line to skip count by 5s around my clock to figure out how many minutes after the hour it was and how many minutes before the hour was. And I did that for 4, 5, and 6. And then I highlighted my answers. So we've got 2 different answers that we're looking for. How many minutes after the hour and how many minutes before the hour? Well, before I can really even go on, I need to remember that that hour hand is giving us some information. And so when I look at this hour hand right here, I know it's in between 7 and 8, which means it's not 8 o'clock yet. So it's still 7 o'clock. So how many minutes after 7 o'clock is it? It's 35 minutes after 7. And so since it's not 8 o'clock yet, how many minutes until 8 o'clock? 25 minutes until 8 o'clock or before 8 o'clock. And you can see that that's the pattern that I have followed for 4, 5, and 6 here. So here's 5. Ooh, there was a lot of skip counting. There were 55 minutes after the hour. So 55 minutes after. And if I look at that hour hand, it's in between 1 and 2. It's almost at the 2 o'clock hour, but not quite, which means it's still 1 o'clock. So the time is 55 minutes after 1. And that leaves me with just 5 minutes before we reach 2 o'clock. Number 6, I skip counted by 5s, and I found that 40 minutes after the hour and 20 minutes until or before the next hour. Well, let me look at this hour hand. It's in between the 8 and the 9. So it's not 9 o'clock yet. So it's still 8 o'clock. So 40 minutes after 8 o'clock, 20 minutes before 9. 7, 8, and 9, I didn't do the skip counting around the outside. Please still do that if you feel that you need to. I looked at this and I know that pointing to the 10 means that I've got 10 groups of 5, so it's 50 minutes after the hour. And my hour hand is in between the 3 and the 4. So I can tell you that it's not 4 o'clock yet, it's still 3 o'clock. So 50 minutes after 3, but also 10 minutes before 4 o'clock. And you'll notice that I'm saying o'clock, but in my answers, I'm just using 3 and 4. Number 8. 1, 2, 3. My minute hand is pointing to the 3. So I know that for minutes, that's 3 groups of 5, which is 5, 10, 15. So it's 15 minutes after the hour. And there's my hour hand in between the 10 and the 11. So it's not 11 o'clock yet, which means it's still 10 o'clock. 15 minutes after 10. And the other way to think about this is that we've got 45 minutes before we get to 11. Number 9. Well, my hour hand is in between the 6 and the 7. So I know that it's not 7 o'clock yet. It's still 6 o'clock. How many minutes past 6 o'clock is it? My minute hand is pointing to the 4. 4 groups of 5 is 20. So I know that one way to think about this time is 20 minutes after 6 o'clock or after 6, which means there are 40 minutes before it reaches 7 o'clock or 7. Let's keep going, learning about before and after the hour, how to tell time on an analog clock. 10 through 15 is very much the same, only this time we are going to be even more precise. So I want to look at number 10. Let's write the time as minutes after an hour and minutes before an hour. So number 10, I'm zooming way in here, trying to not go too fast to ruin it. Thank you for your patience with me. So here's number 10. Now I know that when my time is, or my minute hand is at the 1 o'clock, or at the, let me slow down, back up. When my minute hand right here is pointing at the 5 minutes, I can think of them as group of 5s. So I'm going to find the nearest 5-minute marker point, which is right here. So I know that because right there, oops, let me change my transparency. Because right here, I have a 5, I can think of this as 5 groups of 5, which is 25. But I didn't stop there. I had to keep going. So when I kept going, I need to look to see, where is this guy pointing to? And I think he's pointing to right there. And that's 2 more little minute marks. 1, 2. So if I know that right here at the 5 is 25 and I go 2 more, I know that our minutes after the hour are 27. So I would word this as 27 minutes after the hour. Let me start typing that. 20-7 minutes after, and I don't, what's the hour? Well, here's our hour hand. It's in between the 6 and the 7. It is not 7 o'clock yet, which means it's still 6 o'clock. So 27 minutes after 6. Which means, ooh, how many minutes do we have to get to the next hour? We know that there's 60 minutes in an hour, and there are several strategies that you could use. I'm going to use the strategy of our analog clock that we have right in front of us. So stick with me here. Oops, drawing. And I'm going to change that. Thank you guys for your patience with this. I'm going to use a different color. How about pink or fuchsia? So I'm going to zoom back into my analog clock here. And if there were 2 minutes after the hour that this was pointing to, that means if I keep going, I've got 1, 2, 3. So there were 3 minutes here. Well, if I want to keep going, I think I'm going to go backwards here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So I know that if I skip counted by 5s, it was 30 minutes, but I have to add those 3 minutes. You have to combine those together because it kept going 1, 2, 3. Now I worked backwards here. So how many minutes do we have until the next hour? Until 7 o'clock? We have 33 minutes. Oh, let me get down here. 3 minutes until 7. Oh, there you go. I don't like this font. I want my fancy font back. KG True Colors. Thank you. I don't know why that switched. That's mighty peculiar. So I've got 27 minutes after 6, 33 minutes until 7. And a real good way to check this is to do some addition here. If I wanted to see if both of these equal 60, because there are 60 minutes in an hour, I could add together on a scrap piece of paper, but I'm going to do it on our screen for right now. 27 plus 33. And when you add those together, it should equal 60. And mine definitely does. So I am going to take that off my screen and feel good about my answer and move on to the next one. Okay, number 11. I'm going to use much of the same strategy here. I know that right here at the 10, that this is 10 groups of 5. And then we kept going 1, 2 more. So 10 groups of 5 is 50, and 2 more are 52. If I started here at the beginning, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 51, 52. So I know that how many minutes after the hour is it? It's 52. So I'm going to write that. 52 minutes after, and let's check out the hour. Well, I can see that it is in between the 1 and the 2. It's almost at that 2 o'clock hour right there, but not yet. So it's 52 minutes after 1. Well, now I need to think of it as how many minutes until the next hour. So 1, 2, 3, and then 5. So I know we've got 3 and 5. 3 plus 5 equals 8. So how many minutes until the next hour? There are 8 minutes. Oh no, I want to use words. EIGHT. Until, and it was 1 o'clock until 2. And so you could say until 2, or what was the other way that they set it up here? Before 2, until or before. The way that I speak, I usually say until. So it's the same meaning that we have there. All right, let's do number 12 together, and then we will give you an opportunity to do 13, 14, and 15, and then check your answers here. Again, I see that right here, I've got the nearest group of, or the nearest hour marker that my minute hand is at right before is right here at the 9. And I know that 9 groups of 5 is 45. You could always double check that and skip count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Check, we're good. Now I need to zoom in. If I was using a pencil and paper, I would very likely hold up a piece of paper to this arrow to be able to see what it was pointing at. But I can see that it's pointing right about to that guy right there. So I need to zoom in because eyes that need glasses. And did I remember my glasses? Of course not. Why would I do that? So I need to go ahead and I need to see after the 45 minutes, how many more minutes did we go? 1, 2, 3. So 45, 46, 47, 48 minutes. And the way that I'm going to write that down here is this. "48 minutes after," but I didn't pay attention to the hour. Well, my hour hand is pointing in between the 12 and the 1. So it's not quite 1 o'clock yet, which means it's still 12 o'clock. 48 minutes after 12. And let's switch colors here and keep going. I'm going to work backwards. 5, 10. So there's 10 minutes there. 11, 12. 2 minutes there. So 10 and 2. There are 12 minutes, and I'm going to use their word, before an hour. So "12 minutes before 1." Now, you might not need to do all of that jumping around up here, but I really like that jumping around because it helps me be precise. We are going for precision here. So you need to write the time as minutes after an hour and minutes before an hour down to precision of 1 minute. Try 13, 14, and 15. Pause the video and try those now on your own. Once you have done your best work, come back and compare what you have with what I have. All right, third graders, let's check this out. For number 13, here's what I have. 35 minutes after 8, 25 minutes before 9. Number 14, 49 minutes after 3, or 11 minutes before 4 o'clock. Number 15, 51 minutes after 5, or 9 minutes before 6. How did you do? Thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down. Be honest with yourself. If you have questions, contact your teacher and talk about it. That's where you're going to do most of your learning, is by fixing your mistakes. Don't forget to complete the check for understanding. Use the analog clock, shown here, to show the time 7:31. Write the time as minutes after the hour and minutes before the hour. So you're drawing the minute hand and the hour hand on this analog clock to show the time of 7:31. And just like you did up above here, you are going to write the time as minutes after the hour and minutes until the next hour or before the hour. If you have any questions, make sure that you reach out, or you can send me a message and I'll do my best to help you.